you can intervene at any point in the child's life. Any point. It is not too late. There is no such thing as too late. And you can give them an opportunity to thrive. So for me, being a foster parent was a given. I always wanted lots of kids. So my husband and I were blessed with two, one of each, one girl, one boy. And we took in another, over time, 44 children. And so for us, a house full of joy and chaos was the way it went. We fostered for 16 years, over 20 years. So took some breaks off when we had our son, things like that. During that time, we specialized. We ended up taking kids that were little to start with, and we moved to teenagers. And then our specialty at the very end was boys between the ages of 8 and 12. And that was my niche because I loved their energy, I loved their enthusiasm, I loved their pushback and their arguing. I really appreciated it, and that was my joy, was those little boys. I would say every child that comes into foster care, right there, bang, you now have an adverse child experience because there was things that happened at home, and then coming into foster care is in and of itself an adverse childhood experience because you've been taken away from your parents, whatever that looks like. So every kid came with probably at least 3 to 4 adverse childhood experiences. The science tells us if you've had 5 or more, then you will most likely throughout your adult life be dealing with a combination of things such as health concerns, mental health, addiction. All of those things start to sneak in. And that was always our big thing, is that how can we affect these kids in such a way that they have the skills and the tools to cope, and they have the ability to ask for help when they get there. If the physical symptoms showed up, if the mental health symptoms showed up, and they had strategies, that could make a difference. It was making sure that they had those strategies. But we didn't know about ACEs then. Back then, we didn't understand them. So the earlier part of me, this is where my fiscal conservativeness comes in, but also for the children. The earlier, the better, and the better the outcomes. We had a little girl came to us at 10 months, and at 10 months, she weighed 12 pounds. Mom had basically kept her in a car seat her whole life, so she had no muscle tone, no movement, the back of her head was flat, no hair, and she had pretty horrific beginning. So at 10 months, no milestones. She was failure to thrive. She had no ability to function as a 10-month-old. She was more like a 2-month-old. When she was adopted from our home 14 months later, we had nicknamed her Magpie because she didn't stop talking. She had hit all of the milestones that she needed to. She was a peanut. She was tiny in size, and I don't think she was ever going to be big. But she was developmentally exactly where she needed to be. So in 14 months, we took a child from failure to thrive to meeting all the milestones. The earlier you get there, the more likely that there's going to be less impact later on. Some other kids we got at 5 and 6, and I know that they have had some challenges later in life, and they've had some struggles. One of my favorite children we had for 4 years, and he left us at 16. He's now 36, and he struggles with addiction and with mental health, but he's a functional human being. And I believe that he came to us at 11. At that point, it wasn't too late, but what it was more challenging. Even 4 years of stability for him, he's still got some heartache and some issues to deal with. And at least he has the coping mechanisms, and he's still in our life. He still reaches out now for support. Working at CMHA in mental health and substance disorders, we have folks that we're supporting in a variety of ways. And I think we try really hard to create a place where people can come where no diagnosis is required. And that's critical because what we're seeing now is maybe some of those kids that we served as my family earlier on, where life hasn't dealt them a good hand, and circumstances, biology, all those experiences have come to a fruition, and it's not been a healthy one. And they come in now, and I can pick out the ones that if you looked at them, if I'd had them a little bit earlier, or some of the other great homes had, they might have had a different outcome, and maybe they wouldn't be struggling quite as much. But again, it's not too late because you can wrap them in supportive care that can be just creating community, belonging, hope, all of the things that we know are necessary to thrive, whether you're a child or an adult. Critical.